So we're gonna talk about the Tree of Life.
Okay.
And reason being too is because of what we've mentioned over the past couple of episodes of the BSB to the BLE podcast. We are currently working on our top 50 best movies of the decade list, right? And for the few of them which came out online, like IndieWire and a couple other online publications, right? This one was on your list, right? Even before that, Sight and Sound, ranked it as one of the world's top 250 films. BBC ranked it as one of the greatest American films, and just
Right.
accolades after accolades after accolades, right? So my history with the Tree of Life, before we get to your history with it, well, how you saw it, was at the time of the Academy Awards, the 2012 Academy Awards, the nominations for Best Picture came out. And at that time, it was pretty ridiculous because we had like some numerous nominees basically. So we had the Artists, we had the Descendants, we had Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, which is a show that I really didn't like at all. We had The Help, we had Hugo, which is a movie I really should watch over because
Yeah.
Scorsese fan and all that. It's one of those shows that don't like when it comes to like best of, they don't ever bring up Hugo. But I think it's
Yeah.
because it flopped though. But I thought it was great though. Like it was real
People,
ambitious.
I thought people still treat Scorsese like trash, because fucking thing didn't get nominated at all and it should have.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Silence.
Oh, Silence. Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. Which
I mean,
I
Hidden
absolutely
Fig-
loved it.
yeah, Hidden Figures was nominated and not Silence. I mean, come on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What else? We had Midnight in Paris from Woody Allen. We had
Yeah.
Moneyball, which I
Right.
remember was a show that everybody loved. I saw it once. I was like, yeah, that was alright, but I know we're a small fan, so didn't really care for it.
Well,
Um,
it's interesting kind of story in its own like writer. But yeah, we're good.
right, but I did like the fact that you got to see you saw Jonah Hill actually
Yeah,
do a
yeah,
dramatic role. I think this is the first dramatic role I ever saw him in.
yeah.
Also, we had Warhorse, which
Right.
was, in retrospect, one of those tailor-made to be nominated for Oscar kind of movies from Spielberg. Like I remember really enjoying it the first time I saw it. Like I describe it as one of those shows you just kind of watch on a Sunday afternoon. You have your lunch, you sit on your couch, and you just watch this show and just relax. I mean, that kind of vibe. But honestly, I never got back into it though. And it's one of those shows that people just kind of forgot, you know what I mean, after it came out. Because, yeah, the hype after, like, real people was praising the show when it came out. It was like, oh my God, this is the best movie of the year, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, yeah, and then the following year he had Lincoln, and everybody just kind of forgot about Warhorse after that, right? And last but not least, we had The Tree of Life, right, which was from Terrence Malick. And
Yeah.
I managed to watch all of the nominees, or at least as much as I can, right? That was for my blog that I was working on at the time. And I remember giving The Tree of Life a 2.5 out of 5 because it just like I saw the ambition, I saw why people really enjoyed it from a lot, but for me it just didn't click. It didn't connect. It
Yeah.
felt
Yeah.
way too experimental. I had no idea what the narrative was, if there was a narrative at all. It
Right.
had some great shots, which I'll get into, but I just felt it was just a series of great shots, and it's the idea of life and stuff like that. But then it just kind of lost me when you have a sequence in the first act, which involves the Big Bang and the birth of life and dinosaurs. And I'm like, what? You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
you want to relate that
Yeah.
now to
The
a
change with
family in the 50s,
yeah.
which clearly is from
Right.
Terrence's old childhood. So at the time, it
Right.
didn't make any sense to me. Now, so I just kind of dismissed it as, oh, this is just artsy fartsy crap, right? So cool. And then over the years, people still brought it up. People says, one of the best films ever made. A lot of people made the comparison to 2001. You know what I mean? For how
Right.
audacious and how ambitious it was, but really because it felt like a singular vision from a director. Like nobody else could have made a film like Tree of Life. You know what I mean? Just like how nobody else could have made something like 2001. It had to be Kubrick and what he had in his head, and that's what he put out there now. And
Right.
I remember also to the late great Roger Ebert, before he passed away, he had a list of like top 10, greatest movies of all time. And, it's something that he's been working on for years, always kind of take a show out, put it in. And the last show that he managed to put in before he passed away was The Tree of Life. So like, okay, one of these days I really should rewatch it now. And
Right.
well, because of this list that we're working on right now, I say, you know what the hell, let me just check it out. And I get it. Like I understand now where the praise and where the love comes from now, but it kind of speaks to me in a personal way, but I guess in a universal way. But when I get into my thoughts on the film, well, hopefully you'll understand because it's one of those shows that people may see it in a different way. People may love it for a different reason, but there's a sort of universal element there that will connect with anybody who watches this film. So Ricardo, what's your history with the Tree of Life? Like how you got into the show and we thought about it then and now.
Oh yeah, this one of the movies that I just was familiar about because just worth mentioning is like, yeah, is a new film from him. It's like, all right, cool, Tree of Life, number take it in, and is one of these film nerd shit that uh you just want to just be a part of now. It's like, oh, this movie that you haven't seen but other people see that you want to see,
Yeah.
and finally give it a chance. I forget where I saw the screening for it. I forget where I saw the screening for it, but it was, where did I see this the first time? But I can't remember exactly.
It,
It had to
it
be like
couldn't have been in a
what
movie theater here because
nah,
yeah,
it wasn't that.
that a movie
Just,
like this would not show in our cinemas down here in Trinidad, which
right, but
sucks, but it is what it is.
yes, I remember seeing this since sometime in 2012, late. Didn't see it
Was
in
it
12.
for okay? So at our former alma mater, UE, right? University of West Indies, the St. Augustine campus. There was a particular day, I think it was the Friday before the awards, where they did run the Best Picture nominees. And I think one of those
That,
shows was The Tree of Life. So was it that
that's a
screening you went
possibility.
to?
It might be there. That's a
Right.
possibility. So so then, and yeah, I loved it. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as much as I did. I see why people think it, and at the time you keep thinking and you're wondering, it was because it's one of those elite films, so you should like it too, kind of thing.
Yeah, like
Or
if you love movies, then you need to love
right,
this movie, right? Yeah.
but I genuinely enjoyed what I saw for what it was. I was actually quite engrossed in it. At the time, I didn't know it was the dude who did the New World, now, the director
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
been working with it.
Which is one of the all right, so just to stop you for a bit, like I haven't seen all of Terrence Malick's films. I do own Badlands and the Tin Red Line on Blu-ray that
Right.
they came out from the Criterion Collection. Days of Heaven, that's one that I need to rewatch though. But
Yeah.
I never got around to really watching the entirety of the New World. Like I always saw bits and pieces, but I never watched the whole thing. Now. I remember
Right.
Scorsese in particular really, really loving that film and really defending it now because apparently
Yeah.
it had some people that didn't like it or felt it was a little too unfocused or some issue they had with the film. I don't know
Right.
because I didn't see it. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. I remember because the New World, but I just remember the New World was just a big it was just a hype thing because it's like oh gosh, that's not it's like, yeah, you're doing the New World ideas, and it was this boy now, they call
Oh,
him
Colin Farrell.
Farrell, right? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, you're doing another history piece and so on so on. It was controversial because it's like you're wondering if it's like a grounded Pocahontas again kind of vibe, the show going on there. But I remember enjoying that movie. I was like, oh, it's the same guy who do that, and I don't remember Ten Red Line at the time. It's like, oh no, it's another. You have to be aware of. Oh no, this guy also did Ten Red Line.
Mhm.
And the thing with Malik is that he does these kind of really out there movies, especially after Tree of Life. All of his movies like really obscure with big stars in it.
Yeah. There's
He take
one that's coming up by the end by years and it
right,
was making the film festival route though. For the life of me, I can't remember the title, but
right.
yeah, that's one that hopefully we'll get to see. I don't know, but I would
Okay.
like to see.
Yeah, you learn he's one of these filmmakers that he take these huge breaks in his career. Like he will just not do a movie for like 20 years or some shit like that.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
hiatus, sorry, uh, in his career and these kind of things. And when you start learning these things, like, oh, this man's a real artist type. Like, wow. Um, so when I saw Tree of Life itself, I was just enthralled with it. Again, I'm a big sucker for deep time, deep history, universe, cosmic stuff.
Right.
And for him to square it image wise with just a grounded story about the 50s, and just that you could see how a good filmmaker could make that kind of, well, lack of a better term, existentialism fit. And yeah, it ended up just being a strong cinematic experience for me. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much my take on the movie. It's nothing to really like review per se, because it's like it is what it is. It's have a
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
You just have to be enthralled with it. If you're not into the cosmic deep time stuff like I am, then I can't really say what it is. It's nature, is transcendence and whatever, right? And if you're not into that, you can't be into that. This guy just nailed the visuals and imagery of it. Um, you know, more or less flawlessly in my opinion. Um, and yeah, that is it. I can't really say anything more about that. It's just to me it's a great film. Not
Yeah,
even just
yeah, you're absolutely right though. But
yeah,
it took me a good while. It took me a long while actually to really get it and really appreciate it too. And
right,
what actually surprised me though is how simple the story is though. Because at the time I was
yes,
like, but I trying to kind of figure out, well, what does this all mean? You know what I mean? What does
right,
the Big Bang and all that kind of stuff have to do with this family? But then I was just like, look, just trust the story. Let wash over here and it will make sense. And to me, it
right,
did, you know what I mean? But it still has room for interpretation and stuff like that, which is great, right? So you're right. There really isn't that much of a story or a narrative here. But what it really centers on is this family called the O'Briens. Now. The dad
yes,
is played by Brad Pitt,
Brad Pitt,
and
yeah,
the wife, well, sorry, the mother is played by Jessica Chastain. And
right,
in true 50s fashion, they call Mr. and Mrs. O'Brien, right? So
right,
we also have they have three kids basically. So it's Jack. Well, basically the old version of Jack is played by Sean Penn. At the time, I always remember not understanding his role in the film at all, but I'll get to that in a bit. And we have RL and Steve, who is played by Ty Sheridan. This was the debut appearance from him, right before he started films like Mud and Ready Player One, for example, right? So that was him.
right, yeah, yeah. All right,
Yeah,
a young Tyson, right? Okay, yeah, yeah. Oh, I
right.
forget you
And
was odd.
yeah, I didn't even I forgot that too. It's like I looked up on Wikipedia. It's like, oh yeah, he was in Mud, which by the way is another movie I need to rewatch. I watched it for the Oscar season, really enjoyed it, but I
Yeah,
never got back into it.
I never watched it over. I watched it once. I liked it for what it was, and it was the beginning of the reconnaissance, right? So
Yes, 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 yes. When
yeah,
Matthew
yeah,
McConaughey came back strong, you know what I mean, and then
yeah.
well, eventually he won the award for what it was Dallas Buyers Club.
Right.
Another show that I need to watch. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
you
it
don't
was
see that?
that. No, no, I
Okay.
saw it, but that was a long while though.
Okay.
That
Oh, you need
yeah,
to rewatch. Yeah, okay,
I
okay.
need to rewatch it. That's what I'm
Okay, no
getting at.
problem.
Yeah,
Right, right.
so really it's how the film is presented is kind of like this montage kind of, you know, recollecting of, just just how these kids grew up now under, the house of the O'Briens basically. So you're just seeing, memories and just moments that happened, you know what I mean, from when they were babies to when they were young kids, you know what I mean, just go outside playing, one of them actually runs into the wrong crowd, and that would be Jack actually. Um and just different experiences, and just stuff that all of us can relate to in some way, shape, or form. But then we also
Right.
see the kind of relationship between Mr. and Mrs. O'Brien, how overambitious the dad is. He's trying to, he has ideas for this company, but they seem to be working out, and then they won't work out, and he gets a break and all that kind of stuff. He gets to travel and all that. The mom is a stay-at-home mom. She doesn't seem to mind him, because she just always like taking care of the kids. She's just, the warmth that she has. She's just has so much love for her children, right? The dad, however, too, has this kind of disciplinarian vibe about him too. You know what I mean? He'll always be like, keep your elbows off the table, all that kind of stuff, or son,
Yeah.
before you go, wash your dishes, all that kind of stuff. And he always has this kind of vibe that if you don't do what he says, well, he will punish you, right? And I remember some people kind of not liking that about Brad Pitt's character, but I thought like because of the period, the time, the set piece now. I think it makes sense though, the way how he is though, but it's kind of reflected in his disappointments in life because he always wanted to do things, but he kind of had to sacrifice a lot now. There's one scene in particular where he's playing this organ, and he was saying something about, he wish he could have done that, or he could have been a musician, but things didn't play out the way they did, right? And kind of impart that to his son, you know what I mean? Just to look out for yourself and not to trust anyone and all that kind of stuff, right? But everything
Yeah.
kind of changes. They threw it at you at the very beginning though, where RL passes away. Well, this was later on in the 60s now, so he was at age 19 and he died. They didn't really say how he died, but it kind of comes like basically Sean Penn's character Jack just keeps remembering how the family was affected when his little brother died. And
Yeah.
he doesn't really seem to kind of get over it now. So there's moments of him seemingly kind of walking aimlessly in his business. Well, sorry, the place he's working at kind of walking about, you know what I mean? And I remember the time just not understanding why he was doing that, but it was like, okay, he just can't get over that loss now, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
really, that's what the show is about, just life, basically, and
Yeah.
death, you know what I mean? It really does show that. It's less about loss, but, loss is kind of there in the background. But it's really about life, though, I mean? And that's what make it kind of simple for me to take in and understand, because you do see yourself in this family. You do kind of look back at your life when you were kids, you know what I mean, where you're going. And well, I guess if you have kids, if you have your own family, you can relate to, what the mom going through, what the dad going through. um I thought that performance-wise, Brad Pitt and Jessica Chastain were fantastic. Brad Pitt's performance stands out more because he says more, and Jessica is more reserved. She doesn't really say much, but I like that even when she doesn't say much, you kind of get where she's coming from. When she's angry, when she's disappointed, she is. But it's always about taking care of her kids. That's what really was about. And just being a positive factor in your life now. Brad, on the other hand, he kind of comes off as, just this authoritarian when it comes to everything now. So for
Right.
Jack, when he's growing up, he's like kind of he resents his dad. And there's even a moment where it's like, I hate you, you know what I mean? And he wants to leave the house now. But where kind of lost me watching it again though was the beginning, and well, just the first act. Where's the story really going? Because
Right.
along with hearing about the death and seeing how the family members reacted, and just how there's this separation between the family members alone. You know what I mean? You hear like these whispers, and you hear them like it's either like they, talking to themselves individually, or like,
Yeah.
like your mom will be like, I miss you so much, and I love you, and I wish I could, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing now. And you oftentimes kind of wondering if they're praying as well too, like if it's just
Yeah.
prayers
Right.
going out because of, the grief that they're going through. And then you have that moment where, like I said, with the Big Bang and stuff. And I remember that just took me completely out of the show. And I remember for many people when they saw it the first time, they felt it was a little too pretentious. It was just like, well, why though? Visually, it looks great. There's a couple of moments where I wish it could have tweaked a little bit better just visually. Like you could tell it is VFX used now. And just to touch on visual effects here for a bit, as I mentioned, 2001, they actually got Douglas Trumbull though. Like, I don't know, like they just find him and just bring him back out of obscurity and say, yo, I want you to do the visual effects for this trick. I want it to look as real and as just as visually dynamic as possible. And
Yeah.
to me, he did a great job, Joe. Just um, similar to 2001, just seeing, these cell-like structures visually, forming into creatures and forming into different things now. But yeah, I mean, I was watching it and still in my head, I was like, all right, I'm not sure where this show going, but let me just stay focused, right? There's certain things that pop up, you know what I mean, showing like how creatures started off in the ocean and then they came to land. There's actually a memorable moment with a dying dinosaur, and you think this other dinosaur that comes close to it is gonna eat it, but he kind of spares his life and just runs away now.
Yeah.
And that's one of the themes of the show now. I think it's grace or nature.
Right.
Yeah, the part of grace or the part of nature. That's basically the theme of the movie now. So how I interpret it, maybe I'm wrong, but you can tell me. Basically it's like your based on your decision making now. So do you do
Yeah.
things because it's in your nature? Is it because you know what I mean? Like in the case of dinosaurs, all right, a carcass, this dying dinosaur, I should eat it because it's in my nature, or do I spare it and let it just spend its last seconds, you know what I mean? Alive now. So it's that kind of thing. And you see it in the relationship with the parents and the children now. So the mother more on in terms of grace now, you know what I mean? And dad is more about nature, it's about well, in a blunt way, survival of the fittest, you know what I mean? You do what you had to do to get by, you know what I mean? If you had to turn your back on somebody, so be it. So that kind of thing now. But after the whole Big Bang stuff, the second act kicks in, and that's when you see the family dynamic. Then that to me was when I was roped into the story. I was glued it from the first frame to the very end. I was just like really invested in what's going on, and once again, like I say, it's just memories and just stuff that happened. So stuff they just kind of gloss over certain things very rather quickly, or they might just jump back to something that happened before, and it may or may not relate to, how the family kind of split up or what happened in the 60s and whatnot, right? So I love how they did that. And it's very simple. Like, it's not heavy on dialogue, but it's enough for you to understand what's going on, right? And in general, though, visually, boy, this is probably one of the best looking movies like I've ever seen in my life, though. And it's funny because the cinematographer for this is Emmanuel Lubezki, right? So, who's done cinematography work for great films, which more likely will make it to my list, such as Birdman,
Right.
Revenant, and Gravity, right? So just the
Yeah.
stuff that he did visually, you know what I mean? Like, literally every shot is just like a painting, basically. You could just look at it and just kind of be amazed, or just kind of wonder where the camera was, or where the light was, and if it's natural light, all that kind of stuff, right? And the third act now, however, is where, and this is what I really love about the film, is where things kind of come together. What they touch on in the first act and in the second act kind of comes full circle at the very end. You have this great scene where, well, it's easy to assume that it's all in Sean Penn's head now, where he imagines, well, for better or for worse, heaven. I mean,
Right.
many people can interpret it as, oh, well, it's just purgatory or something, right? I don't know, just whatever you perceive, wherever you think souls go when they die, you know what I mean? If you believe in that kind of stuff, that's what he pictures in his head now. But I saw it as just a vision, just something that he saw in his head. But it's up to you to kind of interpret whether it's real or not, right? I love how it's shown as well. So it's not like, clouds and whatnot. It's just a beach and there's a bunch of people just walking around, basically seeing each other and like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in a long while, right? But it's a powerful moment where you see the soul of RL, right? Who dies as a kid. Well, who dies young now.
Yeah.
And see like this door, and it's like Shauna, like he's returning RL back to his mom, right? Because he saw the grief that the mom went through. But she kind of accepts that, he has to move on. You know what I mean? His time on Earth is done, so she lets him go. And I thought that was like a really powerful moment there. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack in the show, but really what surprised me is just how simple the story is. Like, I was looking for a bunch of complex stuff now, and there's some complex stuff, but it's just really about life now, just really how we all kind of exist, and just the part of life now, just the decisions we have to make, the things that happen to us, how they affect us, good or bad, and that's what it is. It's simple, but you could tell it's like a labor of love now. I mean, it's something that I guess Malik just had to do at that age when he made the film, and he do his thing. You know what I mean? So I do get, well, at the end of the day, I do understand why people regard this as one of the greatest movies, well, of all time, and one of the best shows of the 2010s. Yeah, I do agree with them. But really, the key the key of its success basically lies in Malik himself. You know what I mean? The way how, and even from his debut film Badlands and now, he always has an eye for great shots, for great cinematography, for symbolism. You know what I mean? There's a lot of trees. You know what I mean, in this movie. I love just thinking about it from a symbolism perspective. Yes, they're trees. They're tall. You know what I mean? And there's lots of shots, lots of basically shots where the camera is low or close to the ground now. So it kind of makes
Right.
characters like the mom and dad feel big now or larger than life, especially in the moments with the kids in the 50s. But, you know what I mean? A tree could eventually wither and die anyway, you know what I mean? Despite of how big and how tall it gets, it will die, you know what I mean? But still, just what it looks like and what it represents us. So that's one of the symbols that I got from the show. There's
Yeah.
also stuff related to water, to grass, to trees, and just nature. 'Cause, that's something about Malik's films. They always have this. They always have something to do with nature, just like how certain shots look like forests and trees and whatnot. You saw it particularly in like the Thin Red Line, where even though it's this World War II story, it was really well, you kind of just saw just the environment and just the nature of what was going on at that island. I know it was the same thing that he touched on in the New World, even though I haven't seen the full thing yet. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk too long about it though. But yes, I do agree it is one of the best movies of, well, I don't want to say of all time, but I would say of the decade. Yes, definitely
Yeah.
it is. It is definitely one of the most ambitious films I've ever seen, and really heartfelt as well too. that's really what took out of it. I really felt emotionally moved by it. You know what I mean? And even the weird stuff, the stuff that I didn't quite understand at first, like the Big Bang stuff, eventually made sense. You know what I mean? Like case in point, during the whole heaven sequence, you saw a moment where oh gosh, well I don't know how to describe it science wise, but yeah, the Earth pretty much moves forward towards the sun and is destroyed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
And that
that's not the Earth moving towards the sun. The sun expands.
oh, sun expands. Okay, right. Me and science. But anyway, yeah, so stuff like that. And it's such a powerful image too. But I like that
Yeah,
this is not where the movie ends. It's like, okay, this will happen eventually, whether you want
yeah,
to believe it
right.
or not, but that's not the point. The point is it's about the life that you have and how it connects with other people. That's what it all boils down to. It doesn't matter what happens to the world or what happens to us as
Yeah,
human beings. It's just your life.
yeah, so you don't have to think about don't think about some distant future and then act as if things don't matter. Yeah, again I got that from there. You get that from people ever so often. Hey, the sun gonna expand and take us out, so therefore I shouldn't make the effort to solve criminal justice or something like that.
Yeah,
You know, yeah,
or not care about anybody or
right.
just being good
Yeah,
towards other people. It's like who cares, right?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, but that's what I got out of it though. That's why I say, just the themes, the message of it is just so simple, but it's complex enough that people could have their own interpretations of it. You know what I mean? Now, especially when it comes to its existentialism. You know what I mean? Also, well, last things I also want to say the music, which was done by Alexandre Desplat, who did music for stuff like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows,
Right.
Moonrise Kingdom, Argo. I thought that the
Okay.
score for this was great too. It was just majestic. It was simple. It was sweet as well too. It really did bring a sense of warmth to the film itself. So yeah, I mean, this is clearly a labor of love. This is something that no other director could have done, and it's just amazing that a director of that caliber, who could only put out a movie like once every 5 years because he choose to, could put a movie out like this that would have polarized people at a point in time, but then eventually would have become the big hit at the Cannes Film Festival, and then from there become, well, maybe not a commercial success, but a critical success to the point that many critics, myself included, well, yeah, rank this as amongst one of the decade's best films. So not much more I
Yeah.
can say about this show. For me, this gets a strong 4.5 out of 5. This is an absolute must see. But I would say, just like 2001: A Space Odyssey, this is one you have to kind of prepare yourself for. Don't go in
Right.
expecting your traditional narrative for things to just for somebody to hold your hand and explain what's going on. You have to just kind of let the film flow and just pick up on it, on what's going on, and just give it a chance. I mean, you may not like it the first time, but believe me, if you watch it again, it will connect. You know what I mean? You will get something out
Yeah.
of it. So I strongly recommend, if you haven't seen it already, to check out Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life. Any last words on The Tree of Life? Anything else you want to say about the show?
Yeah,
Or what you thought about like it technically and stuff like that?
yeah, like stuff like that. I don't think about too much. But yeah, I just yeah, it's great. I mean, I can't be mad at. I mean, because it is what it is. I mean, I haven't thought about this film all that much. Coming into this, I suppose I should prepare better for this discussion. But I thought it was just brilliant. It really works quite well. Again, it is what it is in terms of the being embracing the world and how to interpret that. And Malik had a great vision, and we got that for the final product. So yeah.
Right.